In the shadow of the Caucasus Mountains lies a country that has witnessed the rise and fall of civilizations for nearly 2 million years. A land so extraordinary that those who discover it are forever changed. Welcome to Georgia, not the American state, but a nation at the crossroads of continents, where Europe surrenders to Asia, where Christianity was born in caves, and where wine flows from clay vessels buried deeper than Pharaoh's tombs. While millions flock to overcrowded European capitals, Georgia has quietly preserved treasures that make ancient Rome look modern. Underground cities that housed 50,000 people, mountain villages at altitudes that defy human survival, canyons where royalty once bathed in waters so turquoise they seem painted by divine hands. Picture this. You're standing at 2,200 meters above sea level, surrounded by 200 medieval stone towers. Behind you, glacial peaks. Below you, families speaking a language so sacred it was never written down. This is where Jason and the Argonauts sought the Golden Fleece, where Queen Tamar built empires, where wine was invented 8,000 years ago. Yet 99% of travelers have never heard its name. In this video, we'll descend into underground cathedrals where music echoes through chambers older than Christianity. We'll climb to monasteries where kings hid crown jewels. We'll walk on glass platforms suspended 140 meters above impossible canyons. Georgia transforms how you see the world. Every traveler says the same thing: this country ruined me for everywhere else. The last great secret of the ancient world is waiting. Are you ready to discover it? Let's begin our journey to a village that defies every rule about where humans can live. At 2,086 meters above sea level sits a village that breaks every rule about human habitation. Ushguli is Europe's highest permanently inhabited settlement, where the same families have lived for over 1,000 years in houses that double as medieval fortresses. The Svan people who live here speak a language that has never been written down, not because they couldn't write, because their oral traditions were considered too sacred to risk losing through written corruption. Linguists study Svan as one of the world's most ancient languages, completely unrelated to Georgian. But it's the towers that stop your heart. Over 200 defensive towers from the 9th to 12th centuries rise like stone fingers against the Caucasus peaks. These aren't ruins, they're homes. Families still live in 30-meter tall tower houses where the ground floor held livestock, middle floors housed families, and top floors served as refuges during blood feuds. Mount Saqqara's 5,193-meter glacier looms directly overhead, so close you feel like you could reach out and touch it. This isn't just Europe's highest village, it's Europe's most dramatic village, where every morning you wake up inside a National Geographic photo. The best time isn't summer when everyone visits. Come in late September when the first snow caps the peaks, but the road is still accessible. The contrast between golden autumn valleys and snow-covered giants creates the most spectacular mountain scenery on Earth. Getting here requires commitment. The final 50 kilometers from Mestia winds through mountain roads that test your nerves, but locals say the journey protects Ushguli. Only those who truly want to be here make the effort. UNESCO recognized this as a World Heritage Site, But that designation barely captures the reality. This is a living museum where medieval life continues unchanged, where the same families who built these towers still defend them from winter storms instead of armies. Standing in Ushguli at sunset, watching shadows stretch across towers that have stood for a millennium, you understand something profound about human endurance. These people didn't just survive in Europe's harshest conditions, they created something beautiful. Ushguli reaches toward the sky, but our next destination burrows 13 levels into solid rock, where a medieval queen hid 50,000 people from the world above. In 1185, Queen Tamar of Georgia accomplished something that sounds impossible. She carved an entire city into a 500-meter cliff face, not just a few caves, but a 13-level complex that housed 50,000 people. Vardzia isn't just a monastery, it's proof that medieval Georgia was a superpower. This underground metropolis featured 3,000 caves connected by a maze of tunnels, with wine cellars, libraries, throne rooms, and a church with acoustics so perfect that whispers carry across the entire chamber. Everyone thinks medieval people lived in crude conditions. Wrong. Vardzia had running water, sophisticated ventilation systems, and defensive mechanisms that could flood entire tunnel sections. The engineering rivals anything built today. The most incredible discovery: original frescoes of Queen Tamar herself, painted during her lifetime. This might be the only accurate portrait of the legendary queen who ruled during Georgia's golden age. Her face still watches over the church she built 800 years ago. Walking through Vardzia changes your perspective on medieval capabilities. These weren't primitive cave dwellers. They were architects who understood how to make rock livable. Secret chambers hide behind walls. Ancient wine vessels still hold their shape. Royal quarters feature carved stone furniture that looks contemporary. The 300-kilometer drive from Tbilisi takes you through Georgia's diverse landscapes, Soviet-era towns, volcanic highlands, and finally the dramatic cliffs of Samtskhe. Combine with nearby Rabati Castle for a full day of medieval Georgian power. What's haunting is how empty it feels today. Where 50,000 people once lived, worked, and worshipped, now only a handful of monks maintain the monastery. You walk through chambers that housed entire families, past kitchens that fed armies, through libraries that preserved Georgian literature during invasions. Vardzia proves that Georgia's history isn't just regional, it's world-changing. This was the capital of a medieval empire that stretched from the Black Sea to the Caspian, ruled by a queen who built cities in cliffs. Vardzia was carved for earthly power, but our next monastery sits at 2,170 meters, where Georgian kings hid their crown jewels in a place they believed touches heaven itself. At 2,170 meters, perched on a mountain that locals believe touches heaven, sits Georgia's most iconic image. Gergeti Trinity Church isn't just a 14th century monastery, It's where Georgian kings hid their crown jewels during every invasion for 600 years. Mount Kazbek, the 5,047-meter giant behind the church, isn't just a mountain in Georgian mythology, it's a prison. Ancient legends say the hero Amirani, Georgia's Prometheus, was chained here for stealing fire from the gods. Every earthquake means he's still trying to break free. The 15-minute drive from Stepan-Sminda village climbs through clouds to reach this holy site. But what stops everyone isn't the church. It's the 360-degree view of the greater Caucasus range stretching to the horizon. On clear days, you can see into Russia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan simultaneously. This location served as spiritual and practical fortress. When Persian, Arab, or Russian armies approached, Georgian treasures came here. The church's thick stone walls and impossible location made it unconquerable. Invaders could take Tbilisi, but they couldn't touch Georgia's soul at Gergeti. Everyone photographs the church with Kazbek behind it, but walk 200 meters past the church to the hidden overlook. From there you capture the church, the mountain, and the Daryali Valley, the ancient Silk Road route through the Caucasus. Early morning visits reveal something magical. As sun rises over the peaks, the church seems to glow against Kazbek's snowfields. It's not just beautiful, it's transcendent. You understand why Georgians chose this spot as their spiritual capital. The Georgian Orthodox monks who maintain Gergeti today continue traditions that are 1,700 years old. They'll tell you that standing here, you're closer to heaven than anywhere else in Georgia. After spending time at 2,170 meters surrounded by 5,000-meter peaks, you start to believe them. Gergeti reaches for the divine, but our next city was carved for the gods that came before Christianity, 3,000 years before anyone had heard of heaven or hell. Carved into volcanic rock, overlooking the river, Uplistsikhe represents 3,000 years of continuous human occupation. This isn't just ancient, it's prehistoric, predating Christianity by centuries. Over 700 cave structures honeycomb the cliff face, creating Georgia's most mysterious archaeological site. The name means Lord's Fortress, but nobody knows which lord. The city was already ancient when Alexander the Great passed through in 334 BC. Everyone assumes early civilizations were simple. This ancient city destroys that myth. The complex features a Roman-style amphitheater with a vaulted ceiling that acoustic engineers still can't fully explain. Sound carries perfectly from stage to every seat without amplification. Walking through Uplistsikhe is walking through Georgia's spiritual evolution. You see pagan temples where fire worshippers practiced Zoroastrian rituals, Hellenistic structures from Greek influence, early Christian churches built on top of pagan foundations, and medieval additions from Georgian kingdoms. The most incredible feature, a sophisticated water management system that still functions. Underground channels carved from solid rock provided fresh water to the entire city. Secret tunnels connected different districts, allowing residents to move unseen during sieges. Only 90 minutes from Tbilisi with free entry, Uplistsikhe is Georgia's most accessible ancient wonder. Combine with nearby Gori, Stalin's birthplace, for a day trip spanning 3,000 years of history. What's haunting about this town is how it reveals Georgia's forgotten power. This wasn't a provincial outpost. It was a major Silk Road trading hub where caravans from China met merchants from Europe. Wine pressing facilities and storage chambers show this was also a center of Georgia's emerging viticulture. Standing in the ancient amphitheater, you realize this city challenges everything we know about early civilizations. These people built cities in cliffs 2,500 years ago, created acoustic marvels, and established trade networks spanning continents. Uplistsikhe honored ancient fire gods, but our next canyon flows with waters so turquoise they seem supernatural, where Georgian queens once bathed in liquid jewels. Hidden in western Georgia lies a natural wonder that looks impossible. Turquoise water flowing through limestone gorges up to 70 meters deep, where Georgian nobility once came for secret royal bathing rituals. Martvili Canyon defies physics with its color. The water isn't just blue, it's electric turquoise created by limestone minerals that filter and reflect light in ways that seem supernatural. The 20-minute boat tours take you through narrow passages where cliff walls close overhead, revealing hidden chambers and waterfalls. Everyone visits during midday when crowds are thick. Come at 5 p.m. for the evening. 3D light displays that transform the canyon walls into projection surfaces. Classical music echoes off limestone, while colored lights dance on water. It's like floating through a natural cathedral. This wasn't always a tourist destination. Medieval Georgian chronicles mention Martvili as a healing place where royalty came for therapeutic baths. The limestone pools were believed to cure everything from arthritis to broken hearts. Ancient mill wheels still dot the canyon walls, where nobles ground grain using water power. The boat ride reveals secrets invisible from above. Underwater you see limestone formations that took millions of years to create. Hidden caves branch off the main canyon, some leading to underground lakes that have never been fully explored. The limestone creates perfect natural reflections. Position yourself at the canyon's first bend, where morning light hits the turquoise pools. The contrast between white limestone, electric blue water, and green clifftop vegetation creates Georgia's most Instagram-worthy shot. What makes Martvili special isn't just beauty, it's accessibility with authenticity. You can experience this natural wonder in 2 hours from Kutaisi, yet feel like you're discovering it for the first time. The combination of royal history, impossible colors, and boat adventures through narrow gorges creates an experience that rivals anything in Europe. Martvili flows above ground in electric blue, but our next wonder hides 60 million years beneath your feet, where classical music echoes through chambers that seem carved by gods. the Satapia Nature Reserve lies something that sounds like fantasy. 1.8 kilometers of underground chambers with synchronized LED lighting and classical music echoing through limestone formations that took 60 million years to create. Prometheus Cave redefines underground exploration. This isn't cave crawling, it's underground tourism at its most sophisticated. Advanced lighting systems highlight stalactites and stalagmites, while Vivaldi and Mozart create perfect acoustics in chambers named after mythological figures. The 380-meter underground boat ride. You float through absolute darkness until colored lights suddenly illuminate a subterranean lake surrounded by limestone cathedrals. The 14 degrees Celsius temperature means you need jackets even in summer, adding to the otherworldly experience. Georgian geologists discovered Prometheus in 1984, but it took decades to make it safely accessible. The cave system extends much deeper than the tourist routes. Some chambers have never been fully explored. What you see represents only the beginning of an underground world that might stretch for kilometers. The mythological naming isn't random. Georgian legends say this is where the Titan Prometheus was actually chained, not Mount Kazbek. The evidence? Natural formations that look eerily like chains and an underground river that weeps eternally. Ancient Georgians believed this cave connected directly to the underworld. Open year-round with consistent 14 degrees Celsius temperatures, making it perfect for any weather. The 90-minute tour covers multiple chambers, each with different acoustic properties. Some chambers amplify whispers, others absorb all sound. Walking through Prometheus Cave changes your relationship with underground spaces. These aren't cramped tunnels, they're natural cathedrals with 30-meter-high ceilings. The combination of natural beauty, technological enhancement, and mythological significance creates an experience that's both ancient and futuristic. What's remarkable is how Georgian engineers enhanced natural beauty without destroying it. The lighting follows natural limestone formations, the walkways use minimal environmental impact, and the music complements rather than competes with natural acoustics. Prometheus Cave flows underground with music and light, but our next valley flows with liquid history, where humans invented wine 8,000 years ago and still make it in clay vessels buried like ancient secrets. The rolling hills of Georgia's Kakheti region hide the world's most important agricultural secret. This isn't just wine country, it's where winemaking was invented. Archaeological evidence proves Georgians were making wine 8,000 years ago, 4,000 years before anyone else. UNESCO recognized Georgian winemaking as intangible cultural heritage of humanity. These are massive clay vessels buried underground, where wine ferments using wild yeasts and traditional methods, unchanged for millennia. No additives, no modern techniques, just grapes, clay, and time. September through October brings harvest season. When entire communities gather for grape picking, families sing traditional polyphonic songs while filling baskets, then feast on supra tables with elaborate toasting rituals. Visitors can join harvest teams and experience authentic Georgian hospitality. The Alazani Valley stretches between two mountain ranges, creating microclimates perfect for indigenous grape varieties found nowhere else. Saperavi reds and Ragazzelli whites express terroir in ways that European winemakers are only beginning to understand. The soil contains volcanic ash and limestone, creating complex mineral profiles. Historic estates like Tusinandali Palace combine European elegance with ancient Georgian wine culture. Prince Alexander built this 19th-century residence with underground tunnels connecting wine cellars to the main house. The gardens feature over 200 tree species, and the palace hosted poets, artists, and European nobility. Traditional vessels hold up to 3,000 liters and are buried up to their necks in stone cellars called morani. After harvest, grapes ferment on their skins for months, creating amber wines with unique tannin structures and flavor profiles that predate modern winemaking by millennia. What makes Kakheti extraordinary isn't just wine quality, it's cultural continuity. The same families have been making wine in the same villages, using the same methods for hundreds of generations. This isn't tourism, it's living heritage. Kakheti's valleys flow with 8,000 years of liquid tradition, but our next fortress rises from Black Sea shores, where Roman legions met subtropical paradise, and Saint Matthew may have found his eternal rest. On Georgia's Black Sea coast, where turquoise waters meet subtropical vegetation, stand the ruins of a Roman fortress that guarded the empire's northeastern frontier for over 400 years. Gonio Fortress contains layers of history that span 2 millennia and possibly the tomb of Saint Matthew. Built in the 1st century AD, Gonio controlled the mouth of the Koroki River and protected Roman trade routes to Armenia and beyond. The fortress walls, some still standing 7 meters high, enclosed 4.5 hectares where legionnaires lived, traded, and defended Rome's most distant outpost. Georgian Orthodox tradition claims Saint Matthew the Apostle is buried within these walls. While archaeologists debate the evidence, locals maintain that one of Christ's 12 disciples ended his missionary journeys here, converting local tribes to Christianity before his martyrdom. Walking through Gonio reveals architectural evolution in real time. Roman foundations support Byzantine additions which incorporate Ottoman modifications. You see how each empire adapted rather than destroyed, creating a fortress that tells 2,000 years of Black Sea history. The location is spectacular. Ancient ruins overlooking beaches where subtropical forests meet the sea. This is Georgia's Riviera, where palm trees grow naturally and the climate supports citrus groves and tea plantations. The contrast between Roman military architecture and resort-like surroundings creates a unique atmosphere. Try traditional Adjarian cuisine, including khachapuri adjaruli, boat-shaped cheese bread topped with egg and butter. Local restaurants serve Black Sea specialties like Georgian shashlik grilled over vineyard wood and churchkela, which are Georgian Snickers made with grape juice and nuts. Gonio proves Georgia's strategic importance throughout history. This wasn't a peripheral Roman outpost. It was crucial for controlling Caucasus trade routes. The fortress protected shipments of silk from China, spices from India, and precious metals from Georgian mines. Gonio's walls guard the Black Sea coast, but our next fortress controls mountain passes, where medieval dukes collected Silk Road taxes above waters, so turquoise they hide an entire drowned village. Rising above the turquoise Ushguli reservoir against pristine Caucasus backdrops, Ananuri Fortress represents medieval Georgian military architecture at its finest. This 16th to 17th century complex controlled the strategic Aragvi River Valley and the ancient trade routes connecting Europe to Asia. The fortress served as stronghold for the powerful Aragvi dukes, feudal lords who extracted taxes from Silk Road caravans while defending against North Caucasus raiders. Two churches within the walls feature intricate stone carvings that rival anything in medieval Europe, including unique Georgian script and religious imagery. The main church's exterior showcases Georgian medieval artistry, grapevine motifs symbolizing wine culture, hunting scenes depicting royal pastimes, and religious figures carved with remarkable detail. Inside, faded frescoes reveal faces of Aragvi nobles and Orthodox saints. From the fortress walls, views stretch across the artificial Ushguli reservoir to snow-capped peaks. But this scenic lake hides a darker truth. When Soviet engineers built the dam in 1986, they flooded the ancient village of Ananuri, including several historic churches now submerged beneath turquoise waters. The fortress complex includes defensive towers, residential quarters, and wine cellars carved from solid rock. Secret passages connected different buildings, allowing defenders to move unseen during sieges. The architecture balances military necessity with residential comfort. This was both fortress and noble residence. Just 1 hour from Tbilisi, along the scenic Georgian military highway, Ananuri makes perfect day trip material. Combine with nearby Pasanari village, birthplace of kinkali dumplings, for authentic Georgian cuisine in mountain settings. Walking through Ananuri, you understand how Georgian feudal lords balanced warfare with sophisticated culture. These weren't crude warriors. They were patrons of architecture, literature, and religious art who happened to control strategic mountain passes. The reservoir's turquoise waters create almost tropical beauty against Caucasus peaks. But older residents remember when this was a river valley with ancient villages and pilgrimage routes now lost forever beneath the surface. Ananuri's towers overlook drowned history, but our final destination extends into pure air, where glass platforms hang 140 meters above rushing waters in Georgia's answer to the Grand Canyon. Jutting 140 meters above the rushing Okatse River, a suspended metal walkway extends into space above one of Georgia's most dramatic natural wonders. This isn't just a viewing platform, it's an engineering marvel that puts you inside the canyon experience. The Okatse River has carved a 16-kilometer gorge through Imereti limestone, creating walls up to 50 meters high with waterfalls dropping into turquoise pools. But what makes this special is the 780-meter walkway system that follows the canyon rim before extending over the void on a transparent observation deck. The final platform is glass-bottomed, extending 20 meters beyond the cliff edge. Looking down, you see the Okatse River 140 meters below, while waterfalls cascade from both canyon walls. The engineering allows maximum exposure with complete safety. This is Georgia's answer to the Grand Canyon, but more intimate and accessible. The walkway takes you inside the experience, rather than just showing distant views. You feel the canyon's power, hear echoing water, and experience vertigo while surrounded by untouched wilderness. Located just 30 minutes from Martvili Canyon, Okatse creates the ultimate Georgian nature day. Morning boat tours through Martvili's turquoise pools, afternoon cliff walks above Okatse's rushing river, two completely different ways to experience Georgia's limestone country. The surrounding Caucasus forest represents some of Europe's last primeval woodland. These are the legendary forests where Jason and the Argonauts sought the golden fleece, where ancient Colchians developed some of history's earliest metallurgy techniques. What makes Okatse remarkable is how Georgian engineers created access without destroying nature. The walkway system uses minimal environmental impact construction. The platforms blend with natural rock formations, and the experience enhances rather than diminishes the wilderness. Standing on the observation deck, suspended above one of the Caucasus' most dramatic gorges, you understand why Georgia is being called the next Iceland. This is nature at its most powerful, made accessible through thoughtful design that respects both visitors and environment. After exploring these 10 incredible destinations, you understand something that changes everything about travel. Georgia isn't just another country, it's a bridge between worlds, where ancient civilizations meet pristine nature, where Europe transitions to Asia, where traditions spanning millennia coexist with cutting-edge accessibility. Every place we visited today represents something impossible. Ushguli shouldn't exist at that altitude. Vardzia shouldn't house 50,000 people in a cliff. Uplistsikhe shouldn't preserve 3,000 years of continuous history. Yet here they are, waiting for travelers wise enough to discover them before everyone else does. Georgia proves that the world's most incredible destinations aren't always the most famous ones. Sometimes they're countries that have been quietly preserving their treasures, waiting for the right moment to welcome the world. That moment is now. Standing in Europe's highest village, walking through cave cities built by queens, floating through turquoise canyons where royalty once bathed, these experiences don't just create memories, they change your understanding of what's possible, what's ancient, what's still waiting to be discovered. Travel experts predict Georgia will become the next major European destination within 5 years. Direct flights from major cities are increasing, luxury hotels are opening, and social media discovery is accelerating. But right now, today, you can still experience authentic Georgia before it changes forever. The real secret these 10 places share. They remind us that Earth still holds wonders we haven't Instagrammed to death. Places where you can stand alone in ancient cities, where local families still invite strangers for traditional feasts, where nature reveals itself without crowds or barriers. Georgia doesn't just change how you see the Caucasus, it changes how you see travel itself. Once you experience a country this beautiful, this authentic, and this welcoming, everywhere else feels a little less magical. The mountains are calling. The caves are waiting. The canyons are ready. Georgia is ready for you. Are you ready for Georgia? Do not forget to subscribe for more immersive travel content to come. Thank you for watching.